Hello there and welcome to the Three Man Weave College Basketball Podcast. The boys are back again. It's February 6th. Holy cow, the year is flying by. Jim, it's episode 436. A lot of sixes in our broadcast today. 666, a frenetic February indeed. Haha. I'm Kai. I'm your host today. With me, as always, is Mr. Jim, and Mr. Matt will be along shortly if you're watching us live on YouTube. Hello. This is what we look like. It's 7 a.m. on a Friday, Central Standard Time, of course. We come to you live every single week on this program. First, Jim, hi, how are you? Let's catch up.
I'm wonderful, Kai. Excited for the weekend. I know you're hosting a Super Bowl shindig. I still don't know if I'm going to be present or not, but
Ooh.
excited for a solid weekend of that. Going to visit my pops next week down in Tampa. Going to get out of this snow-swept coldness of Chicago. So after a big Saturday of hoops, where there's some really big games, there's also a big one tonight on Friday. I am excited for that warmth, Mr. McEwen.
You're going to catch another South Florida game, Jim.
No, unfortunately, they're not in town while I'm there. Would love to. I think they've got Tulsa on
Oh,
Saturday,
that'd be
the
cool.
big one in the American Conference this year. But yeah, no, I'm unfortunately not going to be down there quite yet.
Well, Matt's running around being a dad, that sort of thing. Uh, our show today, of course, standard fare, Roots Roundup. We saw that. We're going to recap the week. Some three-man thoughts. I went back to my KenPom crutch, excited to talk about KenPom stuff. And we'll round it out with some previews. And we have a lot of reviews today. So we're going to get through those quickly, but we really appreciate you leaving the reviews on iTunes. That's where you should subscribe to the podcast, by the way, as well as Spotify, as well as wherever else you get your podcasts. 3MW underscore CBB. That's where we are on Twitter and Instagram. Subscribe there. Subscribe, of course, to Basket Under Review. That is where we live these days in the Burner Discord. That's Chili Donovan's Discord associated with Basket Under Review. You go to basketunderreview.com. You sign up. You get access to a ton of really amazing college basketball writing, as well as this Discord. It's $10 a month. We're in there all the time in our little three-man weave channels talking betting, regular college basketball, and of course, there's a lot of other channels that you can just go into that aren't even associated with us. It's a lot of college basketball fun. So do check it out. The link is in the description to the video, and it should be in the podcast as well if Mr. Producer Matt gets it up there. I think he does a pretty good job of that. That's house cleaning, Jim. I think we're ready to start the show and get into Roots Roundup. Let's take it away.
Let's do it. Let's do a little news and notes around the world of college basketball. We've got a couple big stories to discuss at the top. But before we do, I must give a shout out to CBB Analytics, the best college hoops statistics site on the internet. That is one of our Bibles for our writing, for our previews as we go through the season. We use a few very key things for our handicapping. I use it a lot for Stats by Will and Jim, one of the podcasts over there at Basket Under Review. Nick and his team have got a ton of great features over there. There's some live scoring stuff that is new and rolling out there, continuing to come out. They've got their all-in-one metric to combat, whether like you want something besides PER or Evan Mia's ratings for players. You can go to their real adjusted plus minus, their RAPM. They've got shot charts. They've got on-off stats. They've got assister to score combinations. They've got anything you can really think of that can be constructed with a box score. Nick and his team have done it there on cbbanalytics.com. So we highly recommend joining there. If you use promo code WEAVE, you get $40 off your first month subscription. So definitely recommend using that. At cbbanalytics.com. Shout out to Nick and team. All right, Kai, let's get into it. Some key headlines. The influx and invasion of professional players continues into the ranks of the sport. Amari Bailey, former UCLA guard, has played in NBA games. The key distinction here, the first guy to potentially do so, is trying to come back to college. He's visiting Grand Canyon over the weekend, and apparently Grand Canyon like rolled out the red carpet, their vision for him and their offense, and it's the snowball is rolling down the hill because we opened up Pandora's box, and I'm just going to combine 8 different metaphors here. But that's what's happening. I don't like it, Kai. I think everybody is pushing back against, especially this. I think the Bediako thing was one deal. This is a completely different one.
And I'll go back to, I just don't understand how this isn't explicitly against the rules the NCAA puts out.
It
And
is.
should be that should be it. It's against the rules. Are we going to get college football guys? Are we going to get NFL players coming back playing college football next year? This
Sure.
this is the same. They make more money. I mean, I can't imagine that would fly. Um, yeah, I hate it. Of course, this is when I read this, I thought it was another joke. One of these athletes saying this. Oh, I guess I have eligibility. It's not. It's true. He's actually trying to do it. Hmm.
Yep. Yeah, I guess they will make more money doing this, so they're going to try. They're going to see if they can do it. Going from the NBA to the Mountain West would be very funny, I guess. I don't know. We can talk Bediako along with this because his lawyers tried to get it moved back so that he could just, kick the can and continue playing. That motion got denied. I was happy to see that. I also was kind of pleased to see SEC Commissioner Greg Sankey come out against Bediako playing rather
Oh,
than like
I missed
just
that.
blindly siding with his institution. Yeah, he's like it's kind of a threat to the sport, and there needs to be some sort of line. A couple like quotes here, not specific quotes, but Nate Oates talking about how like there needs to be a distinction between international and domestic professionals. Well, there is. Like the rules have one, and you are like trying to violate it. He chose to forego his eligibility. No one in the foreign, no foreign professional chose to forego their eligibility explicitly. So there is a distinction, and you're just abusing it. A lot of disingenuous stuff from Nate Oates, like
Mhm.
trying to just make it sound like he's all for the kids, and I'm just trying to help my guy. And it's like no one's getting that. And then I quote tweeted a Stephen Pearl quote about this where he's like, I almost feel bad for the kid. What happens if he gets ruled where he can't play? It's like, well, he's not a kid. He's a 23-year-old adult. He turns 24 in March. He can figure it out. There's a lot of people that went to college and are 24 years old and have to figure
Yeah.
out a job situation, Kai. That's the way it goes.
It's true, Jim. It sucks, by the way. Jobs. Bediako also is 7 feet tall, pretty good at basketball. He could play for a plethora of professional teams out there. Maybe not in the NBA, but certainly in the G League and absolutely 100% overseas if you really wanted to keep playing basketball. My
Yeah,
question,
he
if
averaged like 25 and 20 for the Shanghai Sharks.
yeah, if you kick this can down the road so far though, and then he gets ruled ineligible, so are you vacating Alabama's wins because they had an ineligible player the whole time? I just don't. It's a mess.
Yeah, you can't like I don't think you can vacate him because that'd be like a legal punishment and you're restricted from doing so via the TRO. But yeah, like in the doomsday scenario, they win the title and then afterwards the rule gets instituted that like actually he should have been unable to play the whole time. Then it's like what does that mean for the sport and the integrity of it? And it's just disgusting. I don't want it. Get out. Go away.
Gross.
Move on.
Matt hates it too.
I bet he does. I hope he does. I'm sure Gemma hates it as
Yeah,
well.
she does too.
The WAC is suing Utah Valley over their refusal to pay exit fees, also banning them from the WAC tournament. They're now refusing to stream Utah Valley home games. Like you can't even watch them
Yeah.
anymore. This is such a petty, like 6-year-old kid versus 8-year-old kid petty spat. I know there's money involved, and et cetera, but Kai, I find this really dumb. This would be a 6-team conference tournament. If Utah Valley didn't play in it, they're the best team by Ken Palm's rankings, by all analytical rankings. It's just kind of a weird situation. I'm kind of guessing they'll resolve it before the tournament. Like either Utah Valley will get an injunction against the conference or they'll pay the $1 million, what have you.
Mhm.
But still a weird saga.
If they owe exit fees, pay them. I don't really understand that. Yeah, the home. I don't know. It's petty, but I guess the punishment is kind of warranted if there's really outstanding bills to be paid. Hey Matt, how's it going?
It's too far. Why the kids like you're punishing the victims here. Like the punishment needs to be a little more targeted. I don't know. I don't know. I'm not sure what a better punishment would be, but like I don't know if your kid plays at Utah Valley or you're on Utah Valley, like you didn't really have a say in the conference decision. Like you weren't part of that meeting, so kind of outside your control. I thought it was BS.
Easy lawsuit. Like, oh, these kids are being disadvantaged.
Yeah,
And I'm
there
Yeah,
you
sure.
go.
yeah. Also, back to the Nate Oates thing I was listening to while I was wiping snot off Gemma's nose. Uh, Oates mentioned Rashawn Agee like 5 times in like the post game presser, like deflecting back at the like. Well, Agee's like 26. Like it's like he had some ammo in his back pocket ready to go. It's just like I don't know if that's the same thing,
It's
but
not about, it's not
whatever.
even close to the same
It's
thing.
like
It's not
not.
about
Yeah, I
age.
don't.
Rashawn Agee hadn't declared for the draft and knowingly forwent his eligibility.
Boo, Nate Oates. Boo, disingenuous Nate Oates. Jim has a
Yeah, I mean,
signed
like,
photo.
I guess I get why you have to do it, and why, like, I forget what pod I was listening to where like Scott Drew he's like, man, James Najee is not what I thought he was going to be, or something like that. Like he got sold a bill of goods on a player that is nowhere near the level that he thought he was going to come in and help. And even Bediako has been like not even as good as the 2023 version of himself in that system. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I guess practice matters, familiarity matters, having that figured out matters. Okay, let's go to coaching news. Marvin Menzies is going to be done at the end of the year for UMKC. I think we might have missed that earlier,
We did. Yes.
a couple weeks back, but we mention it now because they have already hired the replacement, and that is Mark Turgeon, former Texas A&M and Maryland coach,
Yeah.
Wichita State coach. Guess he wanted to get back in it. He has some sort of ties to the area from his Wichita days. So why not, Kai? Sure, Mark Turgeon's back.
Yeah. He is from Topeka, Jim. I did not realize that. So, convenient for him. He's not a bad coach. I think he was actually a pretty good coach, if I had to go so far. I know he got a little bit of flack from Maryland fans eventually because he didn't really win the big one or win at a high level, but he was never bad. I think he's going to succeed at Kansas City. Of course, I thought the same thing about Menzies, and that has not gone very well. I'm actually shocked at how poorly that's gone over his tenure.
Been a debacle. I'm sure Billy Donlin is like, you know what? I'm glad I'm at Clemson and being the defensive coordinator for a tournament team every year instead of toiling in the Summit League and trying to figure it out with Kansas City.
Yeah, I assume they're getting big money coming with that, or more, not big money, more
I'm
money.
Sure
I think
that's the hope a little bit. I think they're trying to revolutionize or have a renaissance of the athletic department, but that's kind of wait and see.
it's a KC guy, Kai, Chiefs season ticket holder. How about that?
Well, it's going to be across the river now, over in Kansas.
Oh, that's right.
I'd like to remind all the St. Louis people out there.
Kansas.
If you're a Kansas City Chiefs fan, you're from St. Louis. You are. I don't know. I don't understand why you do that.
You're a dork.
Don't do that.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Loser behavior.
Good.
Loser
Good,
behavior.
Kai. Call him out. All right, Kai, you mentioned a couple of your three-man thoughts are going to be via Ken Palm. We should have brought in an extra panelist for the show to have Doug Gottlieb talk Ken Palm, his favorite website. He basically said, I think he started with like, "You guys want a headline? Ken Palm is bullshit." Like,
yeah.
Oh,
I'm defending
from the
Doug
radio
here.
disc jockey.
I'm defending Doug here.
Okay,
well,
cool, Matt. Go for it.
Did you guys watch the full clip?
Yes.
Did you watch the full clip?
I know what
did.
he said, and he's saying there's
Okay.
no context, there's no injuries factored in. It doesn't tell you who played in what game, but every team has injuries, Doug. I don't care that you didn't get to factor in your starting guard was out against Northern Kentucky or whatever the hell happened. There's no metric that does this 100%. It'd be impossible to do. I can't believe that he is like thinks this is like some he believes he has uncovered a grand conspiracy and is exposing the world to something that the government's been covering up for years. It's like, yeah, no, we knew this, and it doesn't bother anybody because we can look at context.
Yeah, Matt, you're going to defend Matthew Seth Davis Cox here is going to defend Gottlieb.
I'm not a shill. I think his headline was poor. I think he was trying to say Ken Palm is lacking context, which I think
he
is
dipped
important.
back into his radio thing and was like, "I'm gonna make a headline."
My favorite quote, Matt. He said his team was like rattled after one of their players broke a bone and it went through his skin and it was like a bad wound. So Ken Palm didn't take into account that his team was rattled after that happened.
Yeah, but he wasn't trying to say his team's like underrated in Ken Palm. I don't think the context of the quote.
Oh, I'm pretty sure that's exactly.
Yeah,
what
he's like
yes.
saying our whole conference is underrated. Like we'd beat the
I think
MAC,
it was a
even though they're like
conference-wide thing.
they're like 7-12 against the MAC head to head. Like, what do you want?
Okay, yeah. I mean, I'm not saying the
They're
Horizon's
really.
good.
By the way, the Horizon's really close to the MAC, and it's not like there's like a chasm of difference between Ken Palm's rating of the leagues. It's weird that he's Matt, go ahead. Sorry, I cut you off.
No, I didn't have any. I felt like it was his general diatribe there was accurate, but I felt he beefed out his chest as he delivered the take and framed it in a terrible headline. That was just poor radioism by him.
That's what I mean. He's saying it like it's.
I just want people to know his everything that was underneath the headline was actually it's relevant takes. there's context missing in all these types of things. So
Yeah, but there's context missing in the net and Bart Torvik and like wins above bubble doesn't factor in. Like you can't like that would be
right.
impossible. Like what are you discounting every single game where a player misses? Because that'd be every game almost in the entire
Yeah, it was like he
country.
was trying to teach the young journalists like a lesson, which felt a little bit elite. So I didn't like that either. That was the other time. It was kind of like a, hey, kid, you don't understand how this works.
I did look
And
back.
maybe he doesn't. I don't know.
I did look back at some Green Bay games. Turns out some guys were out against them in a few of them.
Oh, no way.
Yes.
Yeah, he actually mentioned that, I think, in one of his clips. He talked about both ways.
Okay.
He had
I'm
like a
just
whole
gonna
like
say
he had a very good like record of like who was out against what, and like he talked about other matchups too. It was a long thing. Too long,
when
probably.
when I tweeted something about Goodman consistently saying like, "Oh, Green Bay won again, Green Bay won again," and then he went quiet when they lost 4 or 5. I ended up getting a DM from Doug about starting with, "I don't know who pissed in your cornflakes, Jim." Well, Doug, I don't know why Ken Palm pissed in your cornflakes. You freaking grump, man. This isn't ruining your season. This isn't ruining your tenure. It's not worth some like I need to be the king of hating Ken Palm. It's just completely absurd. Just a guy
The
that
eight
wants
and
to make a
six
headline to make a
Phoenix.
headline.
The eight and
Yeah,
is kind of crazy. They're 8-6.
is it?
He's having
I
a
mean, it's not that
solid,
crazy, but
solid Horizon year.
nice
Solid
little
Yeah,
Horizon
Horizon.
year. Tough league.
fine. Is it a tough league?
No, it's not. It's a mushy league, like most of these mid major leagues. It
It's
feels like
incredibly mushy.
so mushy.
Okay. Well, maybe Doug is the genius and he should get the Ohio State job this
I got your
offseason.
back, Doug. That's what I'm here for.
Cincinnati,
My
hire
job.
Doug Gottlieb. He'll resurrect you to relevance. There's no big injuries to discuss. Thought Chad Baker Mazara had suffered a serious one, but it's apparently day to day. So USC dodges the like would have been the fifth injury bullet they would have had to suffer this year. But we do need to briefly touch on the Jeremy Fears whole discussion, guys, because if you watch any of the clips, he is like an outright clearly dirty player. I think anybody that can watch it objectively would agree. Even Michigan State fans are probably like, yeah, but he's our guy. So we're going to support him anyways. Izzo, like, there's been the Dusty May and Tom Izzo back and forth, which is fun for a Michigan rivalry, Michigan State. Izzo said he might not start him against Illinois because he's, quote, got to grow up a little bit. I wouldn't mind suspending a guy that's tripping and kicking people in the privates and just like, it's kind of absurd, Matthew. This 20-year-old kid can't stop trying to injure people. Matt, you're muted, so I'm just gonna maybe ask Kai what he
No, no,
thinks.
no, no. I'll take this. I'll take this. Is it worse than Grayson Allen, or is it
No.
is it less egregious or more egregious to this
I
point?
think it's worse because he's
Thank
tripping
you,
and
Kai.
kicking.
This is my point. It's absolutely worse, but the
Wait,
He's doing
context
like
what?
and the
four in a
program.
single game. I think I think it's
Oh,
way
is your
worse.
point, Matt? Is your point that there was a lot more outrage about Allen?
No, I'm saying who is the worst offender in the court
Oh,
of in the court of law of like
we
who's
don't.
being the bigger prick,
Can't they both be
who's worse?
pricks?
Yeah, of course they're both pricks, but it's a scale. I want to know who's worse. It's a
Well,
petty
I've never,
podcast. Who's
I've never
worse?
seen a guy like donkey kick a guy in the balls. That was pretty funny, but also horrible, dirty play. Like he backwards kicked a guy, and that I don't even know who thinks to do that. That's wild to me. Matt,
Yeah, he's got to get
Grace,
his brain rewired.
Grace now purposely trip players. That's about as dirty of a play as you can get. I mean,
Fears did that too.
Fears,
Did you not see the play
like,
when it gets the
he tripped
Michigan
like
game?
three
He went
guys
to
in
the
one
corner.
game.
Yeah,
no, I just saw the donkey. I just saw the donkey kick.
I know.
He had like
I just
three
want- I
other
want the
trips
same
in the
energy.
Minnesota game.
I
Okay.
want the Fears energy to match the Allen energy.
Wait,
As a biased Duke fan, as someone who's clearly planted his flag as like being anti-Michigan State this year, I'm just going to lean all the way into that. I want the same energy. That's all I want to say on that.
Well, have you considered, guys, that he was mad that they were losing to Minnesota?
Hey, well then he might as well trip away at that point.
Triple A. Yeah,
It started
dirty.
Jim in the Duke game. He was, I think, a lot of Duke fans didn't like him the way he was taunting. Boozer.
I don't think it started there for
Um,
any people that have watched the Big Ten for years. I
That's
don't
true.
think,
That's true. Yeah, it got
I forget-
national. I think the Duke fans started to realize, oh wow, like we hate this guy. He's a
Hell of a
Yeah,
player.
kind of
because,
number
like,
one.
Hell of a
So.
player, though.
other Big Ten, I think fans and coaches have been like, yeah, this is what he does.
It's a
This
shame,
is not a
right.
surprise.
It's a shame because he's quietly been unreal this year.
He's an incredible player.
Yeah.
You'd love him to just do that instead of the flopping, the tripping, etc. So figure it out. Maybe Tom Izzo will teach him a life lesson and bench him for 4 minutes against Illinois. Oh no.
I can see him doing that. Yeah.
Yeah, really, really big lesson. Okay, that's it for Roots Roundup, Kai. We can go to We've Saw That.
All right, we saw that time. Let's talk about what we've saw. Some headliners. Kansas is still pretty good, guys. Wow. Looking more like a Final Four contender. They smoked BYU, although BYU is having a little bit of trouble itself, losing to Oklahoma State in addition to that game. And they also won at Texas Tech. And Peterson played a full game. Wow, Jim, I didn't realize that. Kansas 7th in WAB now. Impressive.
Yeah, you could make a real case that they're ahead of Iowa State, or maybe and
Wow.
not Iowa State. Who's Purdue? They're like ahead of Purdue on S curve stuff, like
Wow.
pretty consistently across the board. Unfortunately, the Kansas win doesn't count because Christian Anderson didn't play. So Ken Pom is wrong for having that game up there. You
I mean,
just got to
that's
have
a
all that
huge deal.
context. Yeah. Oh, yeah. But you win the games that are in front of you
For
and
sure.
let the metrics fall where they may. Peterson had two huge threes down the stretch after a really quiet second half. Lawan Watts had a big game, but it wasn't enough. Kansas the defense is so legitimate,
Yeah.
and if you just get like the best shot maker in the entire sport, the ceiling is through the roof. Kai, the ceiling is the roof, per Michael Jordan.
It's per Michael Jordan. That's correct. He played 35 minutes. I don't think he cramped. So miracle. Miracle. I don't want to make fun of him if he's actually suffering a health thing, but I just think it's minutes low.
Yeah, people were like circling his agent sitting one row behind the
Yeah.
bench, so keep an eye on it. Like,
Anyways, hey Matt, Will Wade, he's doing better. NC State won at Wake and SMU. They're now top 35 in WAB, number 31, looking more and more like a tournament team. Hooray for Will Wade.
I have yeah, my thought is the ACC thought I didn't really get to last time.
Oh, good.
Yeah, I back. Not all the way back, but back
I
ish.
I saw, I was casually watching a game last week. I've not dove into bracketology, but it had like ACC projected for around 8 teams this year in the tournament, which would be as much as like the last 2 years combined, I think. it's
yeah,
NC State
way
8
better
9
league.
ish. Why is Cal that I look at the resume just like as an eye test, like just look at the KenPom page. Like
They're
I don't get
17
it.
and 6. I don't know. They're
they're
just like
40th in
second.
WAB.
40th in WAB. I'm
That's
like
pretty good.
I'm all in on WAB, but I'm questioning WAB as I look at the wins.
You've always
Obviously
been a
the
Cal.
UCLA.
They got three Q1 wins, Matthew. No bad losses. What are you looking for?
What's their
Compare
other?
that to the rest of
Oh
the bubble.
yeah, UNC at home, UCLA, blah. What's their other one?
Oh, okay,
Oh, Miami.
okay.
Yeah, okay.
Matt thinks Kim Palm's bullshit.
Yeah, I do. I'm with Doug. God, I'm just gonna be a villain this show.
Um,
Sorry, continue, Kai.
okay.
Yes, we'll wait. Good.
I was gonna say
Oh,
Illinois.
I
Yeah.
wanted to say at NC State, very few teams chirp the way they chirp when they're like. I watched that SMU game, and my God, did they puff their chests out as they went on a run. Quadir Copeland is like kind of a lunatic, but he had 16 assists and no turnovers in this game, so he
Wow.
kind of had permission to talk his talk.
Yeah.
I would wager Will Wade. Wager. He likes money. I would wager Will Wade teaches chirping in practice.
Probably.
It's the guys he recruits. That's just like totally like his type of dude. Like he has a swagger about him, and the players that want to play for him kind of exude that as well. So I mean, McNeese was that last year. Like they clearly had that. Like that's the same energy they're bringing here.
Illinois, they are really, really, really good. This team, dark horse number 1 seed still. They won at Nebraska. They beat Michigan State at Michigan State. Colossal run they've been on. Sorry, Jim. They have Michigan State coming up. I misread the outline. I am Ron Burgundy. They have Michigan State coming up. They did beat Nebraska away. They beat Northwestern last game, which okay, fine.
By 40. I mean, they pants Northwestern.
They're number 5 in KenPom. I talked about them last week. It's just a really good team. Keaton Wagler, who I will talk about a little bit in my next thought. I mean this in the best possible way. I don't understand how he is so good. He's not athletic or super athletic. He's not super fast. He's not like super shifty. He just kind of gets where he wants to go, and he never misses. I don't really.
I kind of agree.
Not really strong.
He just never
I don't
misses.
get it. Yeah, it's very just strange. Okay, sorry.
He's kind of like he's got like the feel for the game. Like he knows how to get contact
elite,
and get to the
change
line.
of pace, angles.
Yeah.
He's got all that stuff
Like,
good. And I
when
also
he
think
adds a
his
little
teammates, his screens are so good. Like the way they, I mean,
Screens are good. Their spacing is
Awesome.
divine with the way their bigs can shoot. And they just like get him in mismatches. If you're going to switch a ball screen, they're just like, have fun. Big guy guarding Wagler, and he either shoots over him or gets by him and draws a foul. I mean, he's unbelievable. It's funny to think about like the start of the year, they weren't having him play point guard, and now it's like, this guy is a megastar.
Um, Florida crushed Alabama after Todd Golden said they would. And I like to think here that he purposely attacked the paint, Jim. So Florida, 72 paint points. They shot 57% from two, and they shot 65 twos. They barely shot threes. I feel like Todd Golden said, we're going to go at Bediako the entire game, and we're going to shove it up their butts. And that's exactly what they did.
Yeah, I think there was definitely a little bit to that where like making a point like this guy's not even that good. Yeah, Florida goes 3 of 13 from 3 and 17 of 26 from free throw line. And they score 1.3 points per possession and win by 23. I mean, they just
Yeah.
demolished a pretty good Alabama team that was coming off Florida beating South Carolina by 47. Like they have really ascended. They just had almost a whole week off to before they go to Texas A&M this weekend. Still think they're the class of the league. I have some real concern about Alabama. Like they are not fixed by Bediako, and they can't force turnovers. They can't defensive rebound. Like the defense stinks.
Yeah, it's poor. Matthew, how about the Big East? I know you and Jim both like Seton Hall the other day. Villanova beat them, and this league is really tumbling towards 3 bids. I don't think you can even argue that Seton Hall is definitely on the outside looking in now. Just 6-6 in league play. And Villanova is still on the cusp, I would say, the tournament. Probably in right now. St. John's, UConn, clearly in. It's a very sad league right now.
It is, and that was my realization as I kind of do my every 3-day glance at bracketology. Obviously the BART projected one, but also the actual current state one was like, wow, Seton Hall is lower than Cal, pretty like indisputably at this point, which is kind of have to rewire your brain. Like, hey, this isn't November Seton Hall Maui anymore. Like this is a different, better than last year certainly, but has a lot of the same flaws and frustrating dinosauric scoring shot diet flaws that it had last year. So bummer, because I like Bud Clark. I really do.
I do too.
Yeah, they are like the only shot the Big East has at a 4th bid too, because every other team below their big 3 plus Seton Hall has 10 or 11 or more losses already. Like they're not gonna get close.
Snapping back to the Big Ten, guys. How about Iowa? 15th in KenPom right now, which is there's a huge tier drop off in the Big Ten in KenPom. They are 6th, and it's a big chasm down to 7. They're only 8th in the standings, but they've won 5 straight. They swept I call it the pillow road trip, Washington, Oregon. No offense to Washington, but Oregon has been they're 1-10 in the Big Ten Oregon this year. The injuries absolutely destroyed them. But
they're 0-13 in Q1 and Q2 games, Kai, Oregon.
Yeah, now this is a good example, Doug Gottlieb, of a team that got decimated by injuries, and they're suffering because of it. But Matthew, Iowa, I'm happy that they're looking good, and they're streaking towards a solid seed.
I agree. I have close eyes on the Iowa Michigan State trajectory as we come down the stretch here. Despite feeling like the stupidest person on planet Earth on December 2nd when one team looked like men and the other team looked like boys. But yeah, no, schedule's been, I would say, favorable, but still, dominated IU. Took care of business in their other games, and I thought that Washington was sort of a tough spot for them, and Washington's been healthy. Awesome second half. Yeah, Iowa looks like I think the Iowa we thought they would. Very much an analytic darling too. I think their metrics are going to really help them even if they have like a little skid down the stretch. I mean, top 20. I don't know what their WAB is, but I mean,
Jim mentioned
26th.
26th.
It's in the outline, Matthew. I even put it in there for you.
Sorry. My own outline.
What's the outline link again?
I'm in it right now.
We'll send it to him. We'll share it. We'll reshare it with him. Yeah.
There it is. Okay. Yes.
Near and dear to Jim in my wallets, maybe Matt's. I don't know if he took San Diego State to win the Mountain West, but Utah State is really playing well. They just crushed New Mexico at New Mexico. Tough to do in general, but to win by 20 points. So they beat San Diego State and they beat New Mexico. It's a 2-way tie atop the league, 10-2. Utah State, San Diego State. Right now, KenPom, I mean, he has Utah State quite a bit better than San Diego State and projected to win. It's an impressive team. Calhoun is going to get he should get the Cincy job. I will say if Wes Miller is moved on from, good coach. Matt said it for years.
Huggins guy. I'm worried that they have to play Memphis on Valentine's Day. Like that could be a Q3 loss, right? That would be a devastating L. So don't do that, Calhoun. Take care of business against Memphis, who I think could be a bad matchup for. It's the one thing with I feel like against the athletic teams they struggle sometimes. So in hindsight, that game could be a landmine. But I think they're awesome and they're set up for success. I mean, their schedule is very backloaded too. They got to play Mexico again, San Diego State, Nevada on the road, and GCU who's been playing really well.
What a weird
Kai,
schedule.
we might need a prayer vigil on Wednesday the 25th. We're gonna San Diego State hosting
Yep.
Utah State. Might have to
Yep.
gather and really cheer that one
That's the
on.
one. We'll have a seance. Make it.
Yes.
Is that good or bad? I can't remember. Hey, how about in the Southland? Stephen F. Austin seizes control of the top of the league. They beat McNeese. Matt Breuer. I don't actually know how to pronounce his last name. He did his shirts thing. He went to the bars afterwards. He bought shots for the entire bar. I think Rocco Miller was there. Shout out Rocco Miller of Basket Under Review, or at least he was on top of the pulse of it. SFA is fully back. This is a fantastic program that had a couple down years. Obviously, fired Kyle Keller last year, but they are fully back in swing of things. They're 2 games up in McNeese. McNeese still up in Kempom, but really impressive comeback for them and a fun team, Jim, I would say.
Yeah, it's we've said it on a couple shows. Like it's so different than the frenetic, crazy pressure foul you. It goes all the way back to like Brad Underwood with Kyle Keller was like that too. But it's a much more like disciplined team, and I think maybe translates a little better for postseason stuff. And I know those SFA teams have the like at Duke win. They had they beat West Virginia in the NCAA tournament the one year under Underwood. But this one's got real upside, I think, with their interior defense. And Keon Thompson could every once in a while be the best player on the floor against the P5 team. So they're really good. I feel bad because I don't know how long Brower's going to be there. He's clearly like a great coach.
Well, I'm curious what he's making. So he left McCaslin's staff. We talked about Jeff Linder in the Discord yesterday, how the top elite programs with just gobs of money, it's financially better just to go be an assistant there. It's supposed to be a head coach have been made. I wonder what he's making versus what like Linder's making. I was actually going to look up what Barnwell, who is now at Iowa. So 2 assistants left off McCaslin's staff last summer. One was Brower and one was Barnwell, who went to work with Ben McCollum at Iowa. I'm curious what they're making. So yeah, we'll see how long he lasts there.
In undefeated news, Miami of Ohio is still undefeated. They beat Buffalo by 2 points. Yes, they did it again. They were on the ropes. Actually, they did pull away in the second, and then Buffalo came back and tied it up. Yeah, they just keep winning. They really haven't moved much in Kempom because they've had so many close games down the stretch here. But there's 23-0, Jim. Nothing to sneeze at.
Yeah, it's a fun team to watch. Very enjoyable. Like I have no issue with. I want them in the tournament at this point. If they keep winning, they deserve it. But I am for my Akron MAC title futures. I am Aaron Paul in Breaking Bad. Like they can't keep getting away with this. Like they just are close in every single game. Like they hit the shot to send it to overtime, and then Buffalo has not in this game, but like in most of their games, they hit the big shot. Buffalo has a possession here, down two with the ball off missed free throw by Miami, and the three has no chance of going in. Ryan Sable had like the worst game of the season shooting the ball from the perimeter. It's just, man, they take advantage of the breaks that go their way, and they have hit some massive shots, but God, they just keep playing with fire. It's crazy. And they've got the road game in the MAC Sun Belt Challenge this weekend at Marshall. That's the
I
big one
know.
people have circled.
Speaking of games that like coaches are like, why is this game being played? I gotta think that Travis Steele is pissed off. He has to go play Marshall,
Yes.
who is like obviously dangerous and gigantic and could easily be a landmine where they trip up.
Well,
So
or
tough.
or you get a win on the. I mean, yeah, I guess it only
I mean, the
hurts
rest
you,
of
I
the schedule,
suppose.
Kai, there's not one win that does anything for them. Like they have to go to Ohio. That's dangerous.
I'd say none of their
Um,
wins do anything for them. To be honest, it's just.
I mean, nothing. It's
But
just all downside at this point.
if you lose one game the entire year, well, maybe two, I guess, if you're in the MAC tournament. I
I
don't
think
know.
they get in that way. I think they get.
Yeah.
I would get one loss regular season, and then MAC tournament. I mean, they're in really good shape in like WAB. I'm gonna pull it up right now. They're 34th. Like that's comfortably in.
Yeah.
What
So
about 2 losses? One loss, reg season, semifinal loss, MAC tournament. That doesn't get him in.
yes, semifinal. I think probably still gets him in. I don't think
You're gonna
I
have
would
30
mandate the
wins.
final.
You're gonna have 30 wins if you do that.
Yeah, we tossed Irvine to the curb last year. We said, nope, get out of here.
Did they
They
win
won
30
20.
and miss it?
They won like I'll
They
look
had
it
like
up.
17 road wins or something
Set the record for road
absurd.
wins. Yeah,
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 you're right.
32 and
They
7.
won
They won
well
28 and 7. Yeah, 28
heading
and
into the
7.
year.
Crazy.
Yeah, heading into the tournament, 28 wins. Yeah, yeah.
I'm sorry.
But
It's
31 and 2, I
unjust.
think they make it. Yep.
It's unjust.
Finally, I have to mention in the headline section here, Michigan won its 8th game by 40+ points this year. So that's a real stat. They're back to number 1 in Ken Pom. They must have been mad that Penn State kind of fought them tough the first game, and they just absolutely just obliterated them. So Wolverines, pretty good team.
Yeah, how did Wisconsin win in Ann Arbor? That is a mystery that
Thank
remains unsolved.
Wisconsin. I was like, who did Michigan lose to this year? When I woke up this morning.
God, I hate
That's
Wisconsin.
okay. My mom
too.
texted me that
So
last night.
stupid.
Oh.
My mom was like, "Who did Michigan lose to this year?" I was like,
Very
"Well,
good.
Mom, you're in the state right now, Wisconsin." So
That was a
figure it out.
setup. That was a good
Yeah,
setup.
yeah,
there.
yeah.
Buzzer beaters, Jake the Chin Heidbreder. He beat UNLV at the Horn
Your
for Fresno
boy,
State.
Wilbon. Your
Impressive.
boy.
Hell of a shooter. That was a crazy game. I didn't watch it, full disclosure, but I did read like the insane free throw stats in this game. There were 80 free throws attempted in this game. There were 62 fouls. I dislike
Regulation game.
There's a
Yeah.
bunch of technicals too, like a bunch of like flagrant. It was a slow game, I would say.
The
Yep,
UNLV's
not
game,
good.
Josh Pastner, like, obviously has a team with like talent. I don't think he's had like the same collection of players for any one game this year. I mean, it's just like chaos. Like, I can't believe their foul rates are top 10 in both ways, like drawing fouls and fouling their opponents, which I mean, historically they've not been like, that's not really been his team's DNA, but it's just like you can tell he is just like whiplash to like this crazy sled and has no control because I think some of his players are a little bit too, they're kind of off the rails as talented as they are. So yeah, a
No,
variance machine, the Rebels.
no one plays crazy games like UNLV and Providence. Providence is
Providence,
just
yeah.
insanity, overtime, back and forth craziness all the time.
Stat lines. Shout out Logan McIntyre. We got tagged in a couple of these tweets, I guess, Central Michigan had. They lost to UMass, but he had 40 points, and he made 12 of 16 from 3, which I believe is the school record. If not, he tied the school record. It was one of those two. Impressive. Chippewas, I still have no idea what this team is. They're playing better. Fantastic. Hooray. After I finally get off them. But I have seen him play. He is a hell of a shooter. Dangerous.
I believe he broke the record of 10 in a game set by our boy Marcus Keene,
Oh.
who had
Mm.
multiple games with 10 makes his
We used to
senior
have a
year.
Marcus Keene section on this podcast. Way
We
back in the
did.
day.
We did.
It's very clear. So I'm comparing Bronkema to Bergstrasser at Denver, two guys moving up, bringing some guys up in level. I mean, the offense translates. Like, I think that's very clearly like what we're saying. Defense is like, I don't
Especially
know.
because they're bringing guys with that are
Right.
not athletic.
Correct.
Or yeah.
And typically the guys that come from like the D2, D3, it seems like that tends to be the more of those prototypes than like the, I don't know, crazy athlete prototypes.
Yeah. I guess it's worth mentioning kind of the UMass side, Marcus Banks made 10 threes in this game. So there are two guys that made a combined 22 threes.
Wow. Overshadowed.
Yeah. Pretty wild.
Matthew, riddle me this. We're going to bad losses section. Gonzaga beats St. Mary's. They go on the road and they kind of get punked by Portland, who led by as many as 15. Portland beats Gonzaga. Gonzaga was like a 22-point favorite. Graham Ike was back. No Braden Huff still. Gottlieb. Matthew, what the heck happened here?
Shanty Legan's got him. Sea Pilots. Awesome crowd, by the way, in Portland. They've been like kind of good at home all year. Joel Foxwell. Wonder if Joel Foxwell is playing for Gonzaga next year. Just to kind of eyebrow raiser after that game. Australian, fun story. Jim, I don't know. I think it goes to show that when you play in a non-power league, I think if some of these high-end teams in the SEC play in WCC, they would be losing one of these games a year. So I'm not going to go down the Gonzaga's not any good rabbit hole of like, this guy is falling. So
I don't think anybody else loses this game. They were 22.5 point favorites. This isn't like a 9 point road favorite.
Yeah,
Like,
I know it's fair.
also, I respect you shouting out the crowd, but their court storm was terrible. It
It was
was
a
it was
weak
really
court
sad.
storm. It was really like
Yeah.
it was bad.
Yeah.
It was
They've
bad.
never done it
I'm
before.
surprised. Yeah, yeah. I'm surprised you didn't mention Shanti with his torn Achilles. Had to practice last week because they were
Because they had
down in
no
players
bodies. Yeah,
and
that's
had
crazy.
illnesses, and he's got
Really?
a Ron Hunter torn Achilles.
Yeah,
Yep.
the Ron Hunter senior shout. Yep.
Did he have the
But
stool? I didn't see.
He had
he
one
did.
crutch.
Yeah, or
It's
something
still in
like
a
that.
crutch.
Yeah.
He was kind of going up and down.
But Kai, I'm glad you said punked because they got punked. They got outshot
Punked.
by 20% inside the arc, 66% inside the arc for Portland compared to 46 for Gonzaga. Out rebounded 32-27 by a smaller team. This is not a full strength Portland team either. Like this was bad. This is like a major like where was the focus eyebrow raise at what is going on, Gonzaga?
They've dropped 8 spots in Kimpom in 2 weeks, from 6 to 14. Clearly, obviously, partially for injury reasons, but still not great.
Yeah, they're like 22-2 and they're probably a 4 seed right now.
Santa Clara at the top of the league with them right now. Santa Clara's top 40, by the way. My goodness.
It's funny. I would be pissed if you were Santa Clara or St. Mary's fan, because especially St. Mary's, like obviously Gonzaga's hyped for that game. They beat you at the Kennel. They have that second half, and then of course you lay an egg that's going to only hurt your resume metrics as well. So annoying.
Zag's still got to go to Santa Clara and St.
Yep.
Mary's.
More kind of bad losses. Yale lost to Harvard at home. So there goes the 2-bit Ivy dream. Yale, I wrote up Yale versus Brown today for Action Network. Yale's 5 wins are in the Ivy are by an average of 22 points per game, with none closer than 15. And yet they've lost to Harvard, and then I forgot who else beat them, but it was like
Princeton.
this team is clearly the best team in the league. It's just like
Some random duds.
just random duds, indeed. That's the Ivy for you. I mentioned, Matt, a little bit, BYU losing to Oklahoma State, and then Michigan State losing at Minnesota. So, not horrible losses here, but interesting losses in the power realm.
Happy for Minnesota. Happy for Mr. Medved, who handled the post-game presser with the utmost class. Just a lot of injuries, and frankly, just sort of a okay talent supply. And they've been like in a bajillion close games. Glad they got one. Good for Medved.
They played basically 5 guys. They played 7, but they played basically 5 guys, and they kind of punked them. Michigan State never led. Impressive job by Minnesota.
USC overtime loss, Ohio State overtime loss, Wisconsin by 3 points, Penn State by 2 points, Wisconsin again by 4 points. Illinois even by 10 on the road. I mean, like, they've been there.
He is a really good coach, Mika Medved.
There was a stat from this game. I mean, it's like a whole confluence of craziness. Minnesota is the only D1 team in the last 30 seasons to have 0 bench points, get out rebounded by double digits, allow 50.5.
Give a 50, I know.
And they still won against the top 10 team.
Wow. Amazing. Okay. We transition to 3-man thoughts here, fellas. Before we do, an ad from Home Field Apparel, our favorite collegiate apparel. It's the only collegiate apparel we wear, I think. They make the comfiest t-shirts and hoodies and joggers you could possibly own. Heck, their hats are comfy as well. They have just released a lot of cool Indiana gear for their national title run in football. I'm sure Matt has every single shirt of theirs. I know I have
binged purchased a little
Did you really?
stuff. Yeah, like a classic bandwagoner, of course. Yeah, I rated.
Glad you did. Yeah, your first football shirts for Indiana. Amazing. But they are really cool shirts, as are all their shirts. I own almost every single piece of Mizzou gear that they have. If they release more in the future, I will surely buy it. You can go to homefieldapparel.com today to shop your school. They have so many schools out there. Shop someone else's school. Use our promo code 3MW at checkout. Gets you, I think, 15% off your first purchase. Really check them out. They're wonderful. Home field, wear one for the team. Okay, fellas, 3-man thoughts. I'll start us off. Why not? I'll do it. I said I was going to check in on some KenPom stuff. I'm going to start with KenPom Player of the Year. And if you're not familiar with KenPom, he tracks for some mysterious KenPom rating, for some BS rating.
He's bullshit.
Who the Player of the Year is in the country, and here they are. There are 5 freshmen right now in the top 10, which is wild. It's one of the best classes we've ever seen. It might be the best class I can remember personally, since I've been covering college basketball officially. No surprise here that Cam Boozer is running away with the award. He's actually surpassed Cooper Flagg's sky high KenPom of the Year rating from last year, and he's closing in on the all time high, which is 2015's Frank Kaminsky. He hasn't had this rating for a whole long, so it's about 12 years or so. Still very, very impressive. What stood out more is two lesser hyped freshmen coming into the year are number 3 and number 4 in this metric here. That's Kingston Flemings for Houston, and of course Keaton Wagler, who we've talked about from Illinois, both top 4 right now in KenPom Player of the Year. And then Caleb Wilson for UNC checks in at 5. Asia DeBansa checks in at number 10. And fellas, we didn't even mention Jim Darren Peterson, who would probably be here if he was healthy all season.
Yeah, the class is absurd. It's just so loaded. Top end talent, middle talent. I don't think it's come out yet, but I wrote something for The Athletic about the class and just how strong it is compared to the past decade of classes. Last year's class was really good, and this one is like lapping it. The class 2 years ago with Dillingham and Reed Shepard was like horrendous, and now you've got this like maybe the best class ever. It's impressive. You got the two Big Ten point guards in there. Yaxel's just like maybe disadvantaged by his teammates being so good and his team blowing everybody out, so he doesn't have to play big minutes. It's an awesome collection. I think that makes Boozer's rating even more impressive because it's like relative to his competition, and he's that far clear of other guys who are amazing for top teams, and yet Boozer's still way up there. Like you look at his page, and it's just
ridiculous.
he hasn't had an O rating below 100 since the opening game of the year. It's 110 or higher every other game, frequently like 150. He is immune to bad games, and that is like the most impressive thing about him. And I'm excited to see it on like bigger stages. Like the last 5 Saturday games Duke has at UNC versus Clemson, neutral site Michigan versus Virginia versus UNC. So 5 Saturdays, prime time eyeballs. If he keeps performing at that level, I wonder if he can convert any scouts into taking him number 1. I know people like kind of think Peterson is the guy right now.
Yeah, so he's on a tier of his own, Boozer. But number 2, Joshua Jefferson, is also on a tier of his own. He is way ahead of number 3. He is sitting alone. Iowa State, number 4 in the country right now, top 6 in both offense and defense. This team doesn't get talked about a lot. We talked about him a couple times on this podcast. But yeah, Matt's boy, Joshua Jefferson, the guy you hyped up to the moon. You're right, Matt. Spin around, show us your dress.
No, I'm not gonna. It's not me. I'm a name on front jersey, not name on back of jersey guy.
Yeah.
I can't believe. I'm sorry, I can believe, but the Cam Boozer's like minus 200 to. I mean, he is an overwhelming favorite. It's not even remotely close versus like Demansta or Toppin or Flemings or Braden Smith. Like it's crazy how much the betting odds have tilted toward his.
He's
I don't
minus
think
2,000. Minus 2,000.
Oh, wait, I'm looking at the wrong.
You have to bet $2,000 to win 100 on
That's
campus.
insane.
Yeah,
200 to 110.
It was. I was pleased to see that I actually did bet him Player of the Year preseason, which I was like, oh, cool. I didn't realize I did that. Awesome.
Yeah, I think a reason to join the Discord. The preseason Bet Online had him at 80 to 1. There's a bunch of people in the Discord that have him 80 to 1.
I didn't get
and
that.
He is
price.
minus 2,000.
Unfortunately,
Same. I didn't either.
Still.
Yeah.
Anyways, rounding out the top 10 here, 3 Big Ten guys. Braden Smith is 6. Jeremy Fears, the dirty player, the donkey kicker, is number 7. Also, wow, after coming into the year, that was way unexpected. And then Yax from Michigan, number 8. Then JT Toppin, the guy that we ranked number 1 coming into the year, who I did take for Player of the Year. I thought I had really good odds on him. Number 9 in KenPom. Still having a great season, but yeah, it's just not as good as what these freshmen are doing. So impressive. That's the lay of the land of the KenPom Player of the Year race, Jim. You can go ahead to your second thought or your first thought.
Okay, we'll let Matt go because he's always got his heart out.
I gotta do.
Oh, I'm sorry, Matt. Go ahead.
I'll do my 10-minute intermission and return once the carriage has left the station. So ACC, a decent segue from Cam Boozer discussion.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to go through the ACC bracket hopefuls and take both of your temperatures on these teams, like teams you think are like maybe I don't know underrated or you think have a serious shot to make a good run. Teams you're in on. Let's just keep it simple because I have a pretty strong stance on tournament long-term viability on some of these teams. So let's start in the bubble with yes, Cal, who is legitimately on the bubble, and is this a real thing, Kai, for you? Do you think there is there any more?
Oh, well, I've taken Cal like futures like 3 years in a row, and I did not do it this year,
I did too last year.
so that's fun. I think Mark Masson is still a great coach, but no, I do not think they have legs for the tournament.
It depends. Can I answer after Saturday, Matt, when they host Clemson? If they win that game, I'll say they're going to make it. But they've got like that advantage of catching teams coming all the way across the country, but they've still got to go to Syracuse, BC, and then Georgia Tech, Wake. They've got two cross country road trips left, and there's some landmines sitting in their potential losses, and that concerns me.
Yeah, I don't like that they didn't leave the state until January 7th. But winning at Miami was pretty enormous. Like that's kind of the only one they have outside of the West Coast time zone.
Yeah.
So
I think a lot of the West Coast Big Ten and ACC teams are going to do that, where they won't travel in the non-con because they're like, we
I
have to go everywhere
yeah,
in league play.
I get it. Mick Cronin talked about that too at their schedule. He's like, we're just not going to do it. Big Ten travels too much. Miami, Florida, kind of team that I was high on and I basically jinxed because they've sort of um, lost three of their last five.
The Cal
Home
loss
to
And
is
Cal.
huge. That Cal
Home to
the
loss,
Cal
Cal.
loss is killer. I mean, Florida State was like, what? And then the Cal loss was just like, ugh.
you know, yeah. I had doubts about Jai Lucas, Matt. He's done better than I thought, but they have zero top 60 Kempom wins, zero top 65. It's just like, eh.
They've got no
So,
depth, and True Washington just missed that Cal game.
yep.
So you take him out, and Marcus Allen's out with a freaking cancer. So that they've
Yeah.
got a lot going on. Yeah, it's just the lack of depth is killing them.
I'm in. They get there. I think they're dangerous. Look, they're a pretty big bad shooting luck victim. SMU, Kai.
Yeah, I like this team. So I think they are dangerous heck because their guards are so good in a tournament setting. I think they could really go far with Boopy and BJ and
The Midi
Jaron.
Mustangs, I call them. The Midi Mustangs.
Yeah, but I mean they're not a lock. They have a lot of work to do. They blew some opportunities, frankly.
I see
NC State was a
seed.
big one.
Nine-ish seed. Yeah, NC State's basically right ahead of them on the curve. If this is updated, which
The
I
A
think
and
it
M
is.
win's
Yeah.
doing a lot for them right now. Yeah.
Yeah, it just gets
Um,
better. Matt can always be plugging. I wrote the first bubble watch for the Athletic came out this morning.
oh,
So
did you? Good for you.
yeah, there's a little bit on the ACC bubble there for sure.
NC State. I think we're all in on NC State as having like classic Will Wade Cinderella mojo. Yeah, 8C. That's like Arizona, Duke, Michigan, Connecticut. That's you'd be pretty pissed to see Will Wade second
Yeah,
round.
for
Yeah,
sure. He's got a couple. He's got Louisville, Duke, and North Carolina and Virginia coming up. So we'll see.
their defense makes me want to tear my hair out, but they can get hot from
Yeah.
deep. They have some
Darian Williams got
shooting
to
on that team.
Jerry Williams got to stay healthy. I'm in on that team. Louisville, Clemson, Kai, two polar opposite styles. I think I like Clemson, and I don't think I like Louisville. I think I'm kind of out on Louisville's long term upside. They're the sample size of not rising against the best teams is growing, so I don't like that.
I know Clemson's 9-1 in ACC, but I'm not really scared of Clemson to be honest. They're a really
Right?
good.
No one is. That's why they always sneak up on you. You
Well,
should be scared of
they're
them.
well coached and they're a really good defensive team, and that travels far. But in a tournament, I don't think they're going to go
Yeah.
far in the NCAA tournament, for instance.
And Louisville is not a good defensive.
They don't
team.
have the ceiling
Just
that
not.
the last Clemson team did. They made like the Elite Eight with PJ Hall. PJ Hall make the Elite Eight. One of those teams did.
Yeah. Yeah.
Louisville has way more potential to go far. But yeah, they have not. They haven't really stepped up in big games like at all. And Jim, we were lambasted for not having this team in the top 5, top 10.
I know. I kind of had a criminally low rating on them. I was like, oh, I actually went like adjusted my ranking after one took through
I think
Stone's
you're
Emmy.
spot
So
on. They're 19 right now.
I know. I did kind of cower. I don't think my initial ranking was right, so I don't want to do like the revisionist history thing. But still, yeah, same issues as last year to some extent.
Michael Brown Jr. missed some games, but
Yeah.
even with him
Yeah.
back, like I'm not. They lost by 30 to Duke with him back. He just had 6 points against Notre Dame. It's there's such high variance because they like don't even try to get good shots. They're just like
Yeah.
we're gonna take a three and we'll live with whatever happens.
All right, last two here. We don't talk about Duke. Virginia and UNC. Virginia, I think we've all been like, this team is real. They had a couple of weird lulls lately. Like the UNC game to get up big and to blow that one. I know they had a close call at Notre Dame. Boston College wasn't exactly a great performance. I kind of feel like they need Jakari White is like a 3 points. He's been bad. He's been just basically a shell of himself since he come back. I don't know. I'm still in on this team. I am very in on UNC though. I'm like really worried about this week. I think UNC is going to clip Duke. Their guard play has been awesome. Caleb Wilson, what a difference maker he is defensively, and just Trimble and Dixon have just totally transformed the perception of that team. I think UNC is a dangerous five if you want to whatever they land on the
I
list.
think they're both dangerous fives. I'm in on Virginia still. I think they're well balanced. They have a pro guard in Mallory. They have a really good front line, a great coach. I'm all in on Virginia. Yeah, North Carolina's good too, and they've done it before, right? Hubert's done it before.
Virginia's best wins are at Texas, at Louisville, at
A lot of
SMU, at NC State.
road work.
That team can win on the road. Their offensive rebounding plus interior defense is great, and they've got the upside to get super hot from deep because they got a whole ton of shooters. I love that team. UNC, they had like that weird lull to start ACC play, but it was because opponents just got boiling lava hot from deep. Like both Stanford and Cal were scorching from beyond the arc. I think SMU made a ton of threes and 2-point jumpers in that game. They're 14 to 27 from deep. I'm still buying them. The structure of the defense makes sense. It's the drop coverage with a ton of length. They make you take a lot of long twos. Over the long sample size, it's going to work. And yeah, Matt, the lineup stuff has been smart. And their front court is top 3 to 5 in the country. So yeah.
ACC opponents shooting 41.5% from three against them. That would be the highest rate in the country over the whole year. So yeah, I think there is some variance monster, good fortune coming their way. All right, that's all I have. ACC, good league this year. Shouts to TO and the ACC defenders. I think they're going to prove it in the tournament.
All right, yeah, I'll take it. My first thought, I'll go with Kai Talk Player of the Year. I think I did this last year, a little Defensive Player of the Year check-in, because in the Florida game, Ruben Chinielu had a couple defensive possessions where he switched on to guards, and both the broadcast and the fans justifiably lost their minds. I mean, he completely locked down LeBaron Filan after switching on him, and then like late in the possession also switched on to right cell and blanketed him too. And he's getting a groundswell for potential Defensive Player of the Year. But you got to also think about any of the Michigan guys, Mata or Morris Johnson, even Lendeborg with his versatility. Flory Badunga, I think, might be my vote right now. He's just leading that insane Kansas defense as a shot blocker, defensive rebounder. Tugler's got to still be in the mix. And you've got some other really highly rated guys per the analytics. Pat Ngungba's way up there because Duke's defense is great. Caleb Wilson, Tyler Tanner gets a million steals, so I'm sure he'll attract attention. Sammy Hoiberg has been an incredible defender. Like, I think first team all Big Ten defender. I would have him in there. Cohen Carr. I know, Kai, where do you settle here? Have any of these guys stood out to you either via eye test or just over the season?
One guy has stood out to me the entire year. Excuse me. It is Ademara. Oh my gosh, I'm going to clear my throat one more time. Goodness gracious.
Clear.
Ademara. Because every time he is on the floor, it is like he affects every position defensively. You cannot shoot over him. He somehow gets his hand on like every single ball. He has a freaking, another 15% block rate in league play. He just totally changes Michigan's defense when he's out there. He is my Defensive Player of the Year, just from eye test.
They're the number one defense in the country, Michigan is.
Yeah,
and
he's incredible.
The defense is 5 points better when he's on the court per CBB analytics. So it does tell you, I mean, Lendeborg and Morris Johnson also have really good ratings there. But yeah, you watch it and the way people have to contort their body, change their shots when they go
scary.
into the basket.
He's 7'3". He can dunk with just standing there. That helps.
Yep. Badunga's way up there. And yeah, honestly, Chinielu deserves to be up there too. He cleans the glass. He's a one-man defensive rebounding crew, fourth in the nation in defensive rebounding rate. He's not as good of a shot blocker, but some of the switch stuff, man, if you're comfortable letting your center take on an All-American guard and switches, that really opens up your playbook defensively. So I'll tip my cap to him as well. Would love to get Matt's vote for Defensive Player of the Year, but he has exited stage left. So Kai, back to you for your second thought.
All righty. We checked in on KenPom Player of the Year. Now we're going to do some luck. KenPom luck, everyone's favorite stat. I know Providence fans love the luck stat. Back when they had a great season under Ed Cooley, they were number one in luck, meaning they were the luckiest team, and they fought back. They had Doug Gottlieb-esque press conferences saying Kim Palm is BS and all that stuff. But we go on. Now, this might have changed like slightly from last night when I was prepping this, so bear with me if I'm wrong a little bit on these. The luckiest team in America, Jim, Liberty, the Liberty Flames. And I really should have prefaced with like what goes into the luck stat. And I'm not going to scramble and find it, but
It's your record over expectation based on your like efficiency margin.
okay. Thank you, Jim. So
Yep.
a fancy way of like you're overperforming and you're doing better than what you should be doing in the analytics. This is the luck. So Liberty stands out because I think this team's legit, and I like that one scratched my head. We'll say that. The unluckiest team in America, Southern Indiana. This makes me feel better because I've been on Southern Indiana quite a bit in the betting perspective, and they have not done very well. So I guess a little bit of I don't know, what do you call it, Jim? Justification from for betting on USI so many times. But anyways, mid majors aside, let's talk about power teams because that's where everyone wants to talk about.
Well, wait, can we also mention that Miami, Ohio is 6th in luck?
I have a notable section.
Okay,
yes.
good.
Yes, the notable section, Miami is 6th in luck. They were 8th last night, so they actually went up. Yeah, and that's pretty obvious.
Yeah, they've won a ton of close games. That's what happens.
The luckiest team in America from the power perspective is UCF, number 4. I think that checks out from our perspective in our heads at least. USC is number 15. Gonzaga is 28th. Now, they might have fallen after the Portland loss. I'd have to check that one.
And then 28th still, yep.
28th. And UConn is 30th, actually, in luck. They've had a couple play with their food games that likely is contributing to it.
Yeah, I actually fully buy that one. And I wonder if UConn fans would even just kind of look in and say, yeah, I get it. Like OT with Providence didn't play that well. At Seton Hall, they led most of the way, and Seton Hall had the fierce comeback. But Georgetown wouldn't say they played well. OT with Villanova. Providence, again, close game. They're starting to play much better now. So I think the luck is dropping because their analytical ranking is getting better. You beat Creighton on the road by 27, Xavier by 32 at home. You're going to start to look a little bit better. But yeah, some of those early league play scares, they beat Florida close. They beat Kansas close. BYU close, although they controlled that game too. And BYU had the feverish comeback.
Mm-hmm.
I buy that. And I also, UCF, like their gap between resume metrics where they're like average of 19th, like 20th or so in WAB, and then analytical predictive rankings, they're like outside the top 40. That makes sense as well.
Yeah.
And the other end of the spectrum is where some teams make a ton of sense to me too.
Yeah, speaking of Providence, the least lucky power conference team is Providence. Number 363. You want to say poor Kemi, it might cost him his job. They're getting unlucky by Ken Palm's metrics here after they've been lucky for so many years under Cooley. Oklahoma is 362nd. Northwestern is 356. Florida, 342. And Jim, that one just like, that rings so true because this team, we were like, they're awesome. And yet they've lost like 7 games as of like early December.
Yep. They played a crazy hard schedule. And, you know, this doesn't even factor in the fact that like they can't shoot. Yeah. And for Providence, for their bad luck, it doesn't factor in that Big East opponents are shooting 38% from deep. But they were 0-4. Providence was 0-4 in overtime games before they beat Butler on Wednesday night in double OT. They've been in some really tight ones, some crazy ones back and forth. Like that's one I kind of can acknowledge. And then, I mean, Oklahoma too. Like they had the long losing streak in SEC play. They beat Mizzou twice, but then lost on buzzer beater to go to OT and lose. Mm-hmm. Like that's the kind of stuff that it's not like explicitly plays that are in this luck rating, but if you're in close games a lot and you don't win them, then you get unlucky, and that's what's happened to the Sooners.
Last power team, Minnesota, 339th in luck. They have not been a lucky team. We talked about them earlier this podcast. One notable team, George Washington, 364th in luck. So they're the second unluckiest team in the country. They keep losing. Man, they just lost another one to St. Joe's. It's tough. 2 more notables to highlight, Jim. Our Missouri Tigers are number 37 in luck, so we're actually getting a little lucky. That makes sense. And Green Bay is 26th in luck.
No, Kai, that's a fake stat. Get out of here. Ken Palm is bullshit. Yeah, they lost an OT game, but they've also won some close games in league play, and part of that is getting a little bit lucky. Bounces going your way. Miami of Ohio certainly. You don't apologize for luck. That's the one thing I always want to reiterate when this
Oh,
gets discussed. It is totally cool if you're lucky. That's awesome. You
yeah.
want to be lucky. Never, ever apologize for it. Don't take it as a critique. Just take it as, look, my team is having a better year than it was expected. And that's awesome. I'm going to kick back and enjoy.
Yeah, and a lot goes into that, and kind of like what Steven's saying in the chat. Yeah, I mean, it's not a perfect metric, and there's coaching involved for sure. I think coaching is a huge part of it, to be frank, because a lot of these games come down to the wire, and what's your difference maker if your talent isn't there? It's coaching.
Yeah, that's why Green
Yeah,
Bay's 25th in luck. They got
that's
a wizard on the
they
sideline.
got they got the best coach in the country in Gottlieb.
Yep. Yep.
Okay, Jim, that's luck. Your turn.
Yeah, I just had a 3 up, 3 down in the at-large picture, and we covered Cal. So respect to them. They won at Miami. That was a big one for them to get a road victory across the country. Oklahoma State briefly mentioned them beating BYU. They're like in the tournament right now, which is like kind of whoa. They sort of came out of nowhere. A roster build that we thought was pretty dicey in the offseason and said as much, but Steve Lutz is a great coach. And I think Shirley Donovan joked that if he does well enough, he could have his fourth job in 5 years. As a guy that was
Yeah,
2 years at Texas A&M Corpus Christi, one at Western Kentucky, and now two at Oklahoma State. So impressive.
he's really good. Yeah, and fourth tournament in 5 years, which would be impressive as well.
Yeah, BYU struggling. If they lose
They are.
to Texas, if they lose their next game to 4-5, which is entirely possible. And then Santa Clara, we mentioned them sneaking into the top 40 in Ken Palm. They would be such a lock for the tournament if they hadn't lost to Loyola Chicago. It's the ugliest loss of any team that's remotely close to the bubble, and
Yeah,
it's
that
wild that a
sucks.
team that talented is Loyola being that talented is that bad of a loss.
It's a shame.
Yeah.
Yeah, good
Yep.
team. Herb Sendek, by the way, has been in talks for a bigger job again.
Yeah, I saw
He,
Arizona State go
he's
back a little
he was
round
at
two.
NC State. He was at Arizona State. Yeah, why not?
Yeah, if he goes back to ASU, you get the James Harden demands a trade to ASU and
Yeah.
comes back to college and files a lawsuit and gets to play again.
Hmm.
The 3 down, George Mason, they lost at home to Duquesne. They've been playing with fire all season. Really, really close game type team. I think probably before they lost that game might have been up there in the Ken Palm luck statistic.
Mhm.
We mentioned Seton Hall. They're just running out of chances in the Big East. They've now gone 0-2 against Nova. Would have been a nice one to pick off. Now you're left to can you get a St. John's or a UConn game down the stretch? And if you can't, you're probably out. So that's big for the Pirates. And TCU, they lost to Colorado over the weekend. Not a terrible loss at altitude, but they're down to 3-6 in the Big 12, and they're really going to have to rally. They've also got the Q4 game from opening night, lost at home to New Orleans. That's weighing them
Yeah,
down. So yeah, they're all but dead. I know we talk about them in the upcoming reviews section.
we
So
do.
won't.
Hey, they own Baylor though. 2-0 against Baylor. Good job.
Yep. That's it, Kai. That's my thought. So we can get to quick previews if we want to. As you record the timestamp, I'm stalling for you.
Thanks, Jim. Great coverage there. Yeah, quick preview since we are running a little long and whatnot. We do have a big review section. Join us tomorrow on Saturday for our best bet show, 10 a.m. Central. We'll break these games down from a betting perspective and more in detail. But Jim, the big game tonight is UConn at St. John's. Should be a humdinger of a basketball game. My gut kind of says that UConn just beats them. I know that it's a better spot, I guess, for St. John's at home. Both teams playing a lot better. I just like this UConn team far more. The Johnnies are going to give them some trouble, their ball handlers some trouble, and UConn can struggle with turnovers for sure. But I think UConn wins this game.
Yeah, I do too. I think St. John's really stagnant half court offense shows up here. UConn's not going to let you get out in transition too frequently, and their defense is awesome around the rim. They're going to force St. John's to make shots, and the home court thing is a little bit undercut by how many UConn fans will be at Madison Square Garden. So that hurts that advantage. The betting line's 2.5. The Ken Palm line's only 1, so it's kind of shading towards the Huskies. Um, yeah, Kai, I just think St. John's hasn't totally figured it out offensively, and UConn has looked really good the last 2 games.
BYU, Jim, tries to avenge its recent skid. They've lost 4 or 5, as you mentioned. Houston is coming to town. Should be a great game. Again, better spot for BYU. I kind of lean Houston, though. I think they're going to have the method to handle DeBonsa defensively, and I just love this Houston team. They're just clicking.
Yep, I think Houston wins. I sorry, Kai, I think I might have misspoke earlier. BYU has lost. Oh, they have lost 4 of 5. God,
Lost 4 or 5. Yeah.
And I think they're going to lose 5 of 6.
Yeah.
Which Houston coming to town, the physicality, that style has always traveled really well. They do not really lose road games. The only one they lost was at Texas Tech so far this year. I trust them a little more. They spanked BYU twice last season. Obviously, it's a more talented team. But if you are pretty limited in your offensive options, where it's Tabansa, a small guard and right, and then Saunders shooting, I think Sampson can figure that out. You've got to have more choices, the way Texas Tech did, where all 5 guys could score on the floor. I think Houston wins as well, like by 7 to 10.
I'm going to zag on this game. I'm taking the road teams last 2. I'm going Michigan State against Illinois, assuming Fears plays the whole game. I also took Michigan State over Michigan. That didn't work out, but they gave them a little fight. Illinois cannot hurt Michigan in the turnover department, which has been their biggest bugaboo in conference play. Dead last in the conference in turnover rate. And then the Michigan State has the size to combat Illinois' size, which has been such an advantage for them all season. They can stand up to them on the glass. I like Michigan State here, Jim, to get the win.
Yeah, it's gonna be a hell of a battle in the paint. To the top, Illinois is number 1 in average height, and Michigan State's number 24. So like they're going to be right in the mix there. 2 great rebounding teams. I think Cohen Carr is a pretty great guy to throw at Wagler. Like size wise, he's a better athlete.
Way better.
And Wagler's so methodical and patient and skilled that I think he'll still have a good game, but maybe have to really work hard for it. And if you don't have to send doubles his way at all, you don't switch too much, get Carr to try to get over screens, that would help quite a bit. And Ugachukwu is probably out. I think he got hurt for Michigan State. That's a worry. I'm actually going to go Illinois, Kai. I think this version of them with the spread offense where they've got 4 shooters always on the court, except for Stojakovic is like the only guy that plays in the rotation that doesn't bomb away. I'll go with the Illini to stay hot.
Last one, Jim. We have to talk Duke UNC very quickly. 2 top 3 height teams. How about that for Ken Pom? I think the Tar Heels get it done. I think Duke's a lot better, but to Matt's point, UNC's been playing a lot better. They impressed me against Virginia. I did not think they would win that game. And the environment is going to be great. In the wine and cheese crowd of the Dean Dome, says Matthew.
The ding dong. Yeah. Hey, if Matt's scared, I'm scared for Duke. I do think Duke has kind of fattened up on some not as great teams. Like the best, Louisville's a shell of itself right now, and Duke smacked them. But like the SMU shorthanded with no Boopy was a close game. And then like Virginia Tech was 6 points with 5 minutes left, and then they extended that. Didn't really look sharp in the second half against Boston College. They dominated early. They were great on the West Coast. I'll give them that. But those teams aren't North Carolina's level. I think UNC wins too, Kai. I think they've been playing well. They can compete in the paint. 2 big bodies to throw at Boozer with Wilson and Vasar and make his life tough. UNC, Hubert Davis over John Shire. Right.
Wow. What a moment. Okay, again, catch our Best Bet show live tomorrow, 10 a.m. Central. We will talk more about those games in detail, as well as many, many, many other games. Okay, Jim, let's end the podcast with reviews. We actually have 5 this week. We'll go fairly quickly through them. Some are very, very quick. F and Hawks Talk says, best college basketball show out there. He said, shout out to North Dakota for ending St. Thomas's 28-game home win streak. Extend Sather. Wow. North Dakota is always kind of a bugaboo in the Summit play. They always get some wins.
I think it might be this guy DM'd me about Sather maybe a couple of weeks ago, and I was like, man, he's such a good identifier of talent.
Yes.
They always have good young players, and they just lose them to the portal. I think that's not a guy you ship out and hope, because I think the portal is always going to be a problem for you.
Yeah.
So if you got a guy that can bring in star freshmen like Ullman and like they have in the past with Bruns, et cetera, keep him around. I think this is by far the best team he's had in the league at 8-2. Good for him. He deserves it.
Wow.
Yeah.
The username for this one is DSafety Guy. How is it taken? Favorite college basketball podcast. He's been listening for a few seasons. Looking forward to the tournament, but it's better knowing more about the sport as a whole. Yep. In the ACC preview a couple years ago, Jim described J.J. Sterling as just a losing player. He said, I'm a Syracuse fan, and that phrase is stuck in my head to this day for its accuracy. In fact, my frustration with this year's team drove me to do a little research. In his 4 seasons, Starling's teams are 52 and 53, in games where he has played. Seems great. Keep up the good work on the podcast.
Yeah, that's
That's
not great
bad.
when
That's real
you're
bad.
getting like, 8 gimmies a year in the non-conference where you should win. So let's say he's got like 25 games over his career that were auto wins or close to auto wins, and then league play. It's been ugly for him, and he's striving to get that 100 O rating, Kai. Let's see if he can get there.
Gosh, what a shame. He started off so promising too. JC Watner, our boy, Frog Funeral, he says, "Hey boys, love the show. Even Matty takes, he's been killing it. Anyways, TCU is officially dead, and specifically dead to me," says JC. Uh, who would you like to see as the next head coach of the Frogs? Wow, Dixon will retire or be forced out soon, and I'm excited to get some fresh blood. My hopes are Eric Olin or Scott Cross. Two very good options if you hire either of those guys.
Yep. I believe, I'm sorry if I'm remembering this wrong, but I believe JC Watner is a lifelong TCU fan and Arizona State grad. So like both of his teams are probably going to be in the mix for a coach this offseason. And I hope for his sake, at least one of them gets Eric Olin. Maybe Eric Olin gets hired at both
Eric
schools and
Olin,
he can coach
beautiful.
both. But I do think Scott Cross has been mentioned a fair amount in the carousel thread in the Discord, both by Trilly and other people with decent sources. I would love to see that happen. He deserves it after the
Wouldn't that be funny?
ignominious, the unceremonial dismissal at Arlington, and all he's done is win at Troy. So I think that'd be a great hire.
Arlington fires him. He's at TCU in a couple of years after that. I mean, I don't know what that AD is doing now, but
He should schedule a bye game with Arlington every year and just beat the crap out of them.
yes. Um, Vitamin Sun, okay, says favorite college basketball podcast and has a Colorado question. Okay, longtime caller, first time listener. I've been tuning in every week for the entire season. Show has been great. Thank you. Okay, question. Given that Tad Boyle is near the end of his career and has given us a couple of basement dweller seasons in the Big 12 despite his pedigree, who do you think are the likeliest potential replacements? A change might be on the horizon, but with our basketball program situation, I don't have a lot of optimism for whoever replaces him. Please don't say Kim English. Colorado's an
I
interesting
won't.
one.
I
I didn't
won't say
see
Kim English.
Goodman's school job rankings. I don't know if Colorado is very high though. I assume their money is pretty poor basketball wise.
Yeah, I think it's reflected in their rosters and
Yeah.
the limited ability they've had to go into the portal. I like this is way outside the box, and he doesn't deserve it yet. But I love my guy Mike DeGeorge, who's at Colorado School Mines or Mesa, Colorado Mesa,
Yeah.
and he was great in Division II. Now Cal Poly's not very good this year, so it's hard to really sell a fan base on that. But I do think if you're somebody like Colorado, hiring somebody that's won without major resources and can do it a little unconventionally, like if you're bringing in somebody that's won with big on NIL budgets, like if they were to chase Bryce Drew or something, who probably wouldn't leave Grand Canyon for this job, but I think that's ill-advised. You need to find somebody who can win a little unconventionally. I don't think Kyle Smith would leave Stanford, but
Johnny
that's that
Tower.
kind of guy. Yeah, I mean Gurlifson at San Francisco, I guess he's probably had
That
better
would be
resources
yeah.
relative to WCC, but that wouldn't be a bad. He's smart, he's analytically sound, and will find different ways to win. I think that'd be a good hire.
Is
Towers
Sendek
Towers a fun idea too.
is Sendek too much of a similar like Tad Boyle and Herb Sendek are kind of like they're similar in my
Yeah,
head. I know they're not, but
yeah,
they are.
yeah. I think they're kind of in the same like age bracket, right?
Yeah,
Later in
I
the
think so.
coaching career.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, last
Russell
one.
Turner from
Russell Turner.
Irvine.
Yeah, he's been named a lot of times, right? I don't know what
Yep.
his deal is. Username Matt. Write 3-man thought in a doc is the username.
This made me very happy.
Yes.
Matt would love it if you'd put your 3-man thoughts in the document.
Really an awesome job, says the review. He says, I genuinely look forward to the episodes each week. Fantastic. What are the odds Eric Ryby for UConn becomes an All-American in the next few years? What about Bryson Tiller, Amari Allen, Dylan Shaw? These are some of the lesser hyped freshmen I enjoy watch playing. Maybe some of these guys enter the draft early, but I hope not. Gosh, I mean, Tiller has just mounds of potential. It's actually with the way the NIL is. I mean, these guys are sticking around more. Amari Allen, I think, is a really good shot at it too. I think he's excellent.
Yep, I got a couple here. Some sophomores that I love that just because I just did the research on the freshman class. Nigel James from Marquette is going to
Yeah.
be a megastar wherever he ends up, whether he stays there or not. Ryba's a great call. I mean, that staff can clearly develop big men, and he's shown all the potential. Maybe a Caden Lewis if he sticks around at Nova.
Stud.
I think Killian Toure is on that Taman Lipsey track at Iowa State to be their 4-year starting point guard. Dwayne Brown at Tennessee has shown really well in a system that can optimize a load in the paint. He'll be like the next Jalen Carey. And I always love my guy Najai Hines at Seton Hall. I don't think he'll go pro. I think they're going to love his shot blocking, but I think he'll be able to stick around. And I hope he has a pretty big ascension as a sophomore.
That does it. Matt, hi. You want to say anything to end the show?
Yes, a few thoughts on the thoughts earlier. Defensive Player of the Year or
Yes.
the best defend.
Yeah, Defensive Player of the Year. Yeah.
Kind of on the Badunga train. I know it's probably not the favorite, but I firmly believe the best front court defense in the country. Not firmly, but Michigan, yeah, Florida. But KU's right there. Seeing Toppin at least disturbed by that was like, oh, interesting. What else did I have a take on?
I don't know.
You had other good thoughts.
UNC Duke, you talked about any of the game previews, any of the bubble teams I mentioned.
I agree with Jim on the home court thing for St. John's being a bummer. Just, I think when you play UConn, you should go play at Carnesecca. It's like the one game you can make an exception. I know it should be at the Garden for the spectacle, but like you actually want I think you're giving up like 1.5 points of home court juice by playing at the Garden.
Finally, Matthew, the last review wanted you to write your 3-man thoughts in the outline.
I heard that. I know.
Your thoughts?
I'm too stubborn to cave to that.
Indeed you are.
But if the momentum's there, maybe I'll change. Did we say Ace Glass or
Ace Glass? Wow, good name.
Freshman for
Wazoo.
a couple other guys?
Joel Foxwell, as we mentioned earlier in the show. Yeah.
All right, that does it. I'm calling it. Thanks for joining us on 3-Man Weave College Basketball Podcast. Join us tomorrow. Best Bet Show, 10 a.m. Central. We'll see you then. Till then, cheers. Enjoy basketball. Enjoy your weekend. Happy February. Go Super Bowl.
Oh, wait, hold on.
Yes.
Flame on tonight. UIC, biggest game in the history of the program, arguably.
Okay.
Last 15 years.
We'll talk about it tomorrow, right?
That's right.
Darn right. All right.